I recently attended two events that I enjoyed very much in Harrisburg. The first one was the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference. That was a couple of weeks ago. A number of us were there, and it was fabulous. Cullen was the MC, and he always does a great job. And do you agree, a very optimistic feeling up there, very, very optimistic. But I think there was kind of like one, and I'm not even sure, word of warning. And the warning was, we need to work together. And that's why I'm so encouraged today that Cullen is here today with Let Freedom Ring. Brandon Boyd is here with the Westchester Tea Party. Rich Davis, is here with the Sheepdogs. We have Jeff Griffith. You'll meet him a little bit later with Cool. And so I think we're doing that. I think we are working together in Chester County, and our intent. And Greta's here from the PAC. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're working here. So anyway, that was the first thing. That was a great meeting. The second thing that I attended was just this week. It was a meeting in Harrisburg, much smaller meeting. I think we had about 500 people at PLC. But this meeting this week that I went to was about 25 people. And I met with Rick Santorum, and I met with Ralph Reed, and it was a little bit different because Rick Santorum did kind of like the introducing of Ralph Reed, and then it was kind of neat because you walked into this room with 25 people and you kind of knew everybody. Not that they knew me, but I knew all of them because they were kind of like the heads of every conservative political organization in Pennsylvania, so it was really cool. Anyway, Rick Santorum introduced kind of Ralph Reed, and he talked about a program that he has put together, and it was very, very interesting. He had a lot of statistics. I don't know if you guys like that kind of stuff, but I love to look at how many people voted in the last election, how many people voted in the time before that, and the demographics of this particular group, and they keep voting this way, and demographics of another group, they're not voting that way anymore. And it was all very interesting, but it kind of came down to one bottom line, and that was the number of Christian conservatives that voted. No, that's not right. Sorry. It was actually the number of Christian conservatives that didn't vote. The number was astronomical. It was over 70% at times. Over 70%. So he's kind of come up with a program to get these people to vote. And the idea is basically to educate them, to contact them, and yes, he even used the word badger. So there were 7 points of contact he wanted to have with these people to try and get them to vote. Now, after he went through the program, what was very interesting is that he said he had already put this program into place in Virginia and New Jersey. So it was very, very exciting. And the whole idea is here, something that we can do right here in Chester County. You know people that didn't vote the last time. You know people that voted and didn't know who they were voting for. They were not educated, okay? We need to get out there and we need to talk to those people and we need to educate them and give them the information that they need to get out there and vote. And he said, now just keep this in mind, that's not a 5-minute phone call the day before Election Day. He said 7 times contact, and that will get them out to vote. So anyway, so that was a great, great meeting. I think what he was really saying is that we need to begin a dialogue. That's kind of what I said at the Tea Party. We need to begin a dialogue with people. And some people come up to me and they say, you know, I really don't know what to say. I don't know how to begin a dialogue. So I'm going to give you, a couple little bits of information that will help you to be able to begin a dialogue. And the first thing that I want to say is, just so that you know, conservatism is very rational, okay? It's very, very logical, right? I'm a logical person, okay? So this works for me. Now, what is a conservative? I have a definition I have to read. Conservative is a person who wants to conserve the great ideals of the past and to boldly move into the future using them as our guide. So now keep that in mind, okay? Keep that in mind, and I'm going to give you kind of talk about three different issues, okay? And just to give you some information that you can talk to and kind of have that in your arsenal. All right, the first thing is that we're going to talk about is taxes. Why do we believe that it's not a good idea to overtax people, to rob people of their hard-earned money? Okay, that's what they say about conservatives, right? We're stingy, right? We're greedy. Is that why we feel that way? No. Okay. Well, let me give you this little scenario, and then we'll come back to that. Okay? Let's say that I told you all that we're going to have a test. We're going to have a test in 2 weeks, and I'm going to give you the book, and you're going to go home and you're going to study, and you're going to study every single day for 2 weeks. You study really, really hard, and you come back, and not surprisingly, you come back in 2 weeks and you get an A on your test. But the guy sitting next to you watched TV, and he went out and partied, and not surprisingly, he came back and took the test and got an F. Now, your teacher says, some of you got A's, some of you got F's. I'm just going to round it all off and give everybody a C. Okay? And you say, no, but I earned that. No. Okay, now here is the most important part. Once you get past your outrage, right, what happens next? The teacher says, well, we're going to have another test. And what are you going to do? You're not going to study. Thank you. I love to have responses like that. That's great. Okay, so now we'll bring it back to the economics. And now I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you a question. If we punish people who are creating jobs, what are they not going to do? Create jobs. Very good. You are a great audience. Okay, I like that. Okay, so that was the first issue. You got that? That's easy to remember, right? All right, the next issue is, what about the things that we want to conserve as it relates to traditional values, okay? And the well-being of a family, like the two-parent model, okay? If we have our choice, right, 2 loving parents is better than 1 loving parent, right? And 4 hands to help and clean up and all that is better than 2 hands. And 4 eyeballs to watch the kids run around and everything is better than 2, right? All right. But there's a specific policy reason why this matters. And that is, how do you solve childhood poverty? If you want to solve childhood poverty like that, just like that, here's how you can do it. Have people wait to have their children after they're married. Why? Because, you can start with that. 75% of all children that are born out of wedlock live under the poverty line. Now, what is this? Is this some kind of conspiracy? Somebody doesn't like children that are born out of wedlock and they saddle them with debt, right? No, that's not it at all. It's not rocket science. 2 incomes is better than 1, right? All right, when you promote traditional marriage of a mother and father who love their child, you have 2 incomes instead of 1. So when we at Chester County Action say that we want to promote traditional marriage, there's a reason behind it. And we want to conserve that because it's the best model for raising children and for flourishing children. All right, I have one more issue that I'm going to talk about, and that's about the strong military. Why do we want to conserve the idea of a strong military? Is it because we're warmongers? Maybe it's because we like to see things blown up. Is that why? No. Okay, I'll tell you. Former Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger wrote a book, Home of the Brave, honoring the unsung heroes on the war on terror. And in that, he interviewed highly decorated heroes. And you know what he found out? There is no one who loves peace more than the 2.4 million people whose lives are on the line to defend our freedom. They're not warmongers because they understand that peace has to be defended. Now, the reason that we believe in a strong military is this: your freedom means nothing if you're dead. Right? Right. Your civil liberties are pretty hard to exercise if you're in the coffin. And if you don't have a country. So we believe that that is the wellspring from which freedom flows. All right, so now we are ready to begin a dialogue, all right? Right? Because I've kind of given you 3 points of information, and now you're ready to begin a dialogue. Now, I know when you come into a room like this and you hear a speaker, everybody usually says to you, turn off your cell phones. I'm a little bit of a rebel. Did you know that? Everybody knew that, right? I'm a little bit of a rebel. Turn on your cell phones. Get out your cell phones right now, because you know what? We're going to send a message today, right now. Turn on your cell phones, and we're going to write. By the way, there's a cash reward involved here. So now everybody's kind of perked up here, right? There's a cash reward. Open up your cell phone, turn it on, and kind of get ready to send a text. One of the most powerful quotes that Ronald Reagan said is, and you can probably help me with this, right? Government isn't the solution, government is the problem. There you go. Okay. So right now, choose somebody that you're going to text to, okay? And get your phone set up, and I'm going to give you this quote, and you're going to type it in, and then push send, and then raise your hand, because we're going to give $50 to the first person that's able to do that. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready for the quote? You ready? Here's the quote. Type it in. Conservatism isn't the problem. Conservatism is the solution. So type that in, and oh, Steve got it already. Oh my word. $50 to Steve Welsh. All right.
Oh, he didn't spell conservatism right.
Oh, very good. Okay.
It's all smileys.
Okay, so now, I don't know, how many of you sent that text message? How many? Okay. Well, I was going to say that we sent a tidal wave of conservative ideas, but maybe we sent a ripple, I would say. maybe that. Okay. All right. But what I'm trying to say to you is that your voice matters, and we need to begin a dialogue. Now, you've heard this famous quote, freedom is not free. It came at a great price, and now I'm going to tell you what that price was. In World War I, 119,000 Americans died. In World War II, 405,000 Americans died. In the Korean War, 36,500 Americans died. In Vietnam, 58,000 Americans died. In the Gulf War, 1,300 Americans died. And in Afghanistan and Iraq, so far, 5,400 Americans have died. That is the lineage of sacrifice that has given me the right to stand here and talk to you today. It happened because of every generation saying, if we don't stand up and do the right thing, who will? And I don't want my kids and my grandkids to live in an America that's any less safe or less blessed than the one that I am able to live in. Every single generation of those wars that I just mentioned to you, they picked up the mantle. They didn't ask for the challenges, but they met them and they conquered them. One last quote. Ronald Reagan said that freedom is only one generation away from extinction. Let us not be that generation. Thank you.